This whole thing has been so difficult because nobody's been through it.
This was the necessary step for the National Hockey League.
Yeah, it's really not a surprise.
When it started spreading everywhere, I noticed I was paying attention to Italy. My brother is at the Vatican. He's there as a priest.
You know, once that month, the first month went by, you kind of like, all right, you got to ride it out.
And a lot of us are worried about other people, so we're trying to do our part and not spreading it.
I am delighted to be with you today to announce the National Hockey League's plans for our resumption of play.
I think that the idea that they came up with, the 2014 play-in format, was the best option out there.
I'm so excited. It kind of reminds me of the first day of school feeling where you're giddy and ready to see your friends. And
it's definitely different, you know, just seeing all the arrows on the ground, what's blocked off, one way in, and some, like, you're testing as soon as you get in the rink. It's definitely it's a different feeling.
Yeah, honestly, it is a little alarming just to see the spikes that have been going on.
Yeah, it's extreme circumstances. It is what it is, and it's definitely going to be a fun situation for fans. All day, every day hockey for however long would probably be a great time to be a fan.
It's a short series, so we need to obviously be ready right from the start, or we're not going to give ourselves a good chance to win. So hopefully we can be playing good right away.
We want to be like consistent playoff team, and we want to make playoffs every year, but the only thing you can handle is what are you doing like right now. Make them this year, you gotta compete in them, you gotta start winning in them.
I know they like to play a lot of defense. They kind of shut it down. A couple key guys, Barzell and some good Eberle, and those guys, we're gonna have to shut them down.
I mean, you can tell that they want it so bad, and they, you know, like previous years, they're watching, and you know, there's just so much pressure on those guys to take to the next level.
It's the final game of the 2018-19 regular season, and the Florida Panthers once again find themselves headed into an early summer.
Jack in the slot, shoots and he scores! The game and season ends with the Devils winning in overtime 4-3.
For the 19th time in 25 seasons, they'd be watching the playoffs from the sidelines. A gut-wrenching end to a campaign that had begun with high expectations. Cleaning out their lockers a few days later, players vented their frustrations.
Like, it's really disappointing that we didn't make playoffs, and like it's not just coaching thing, it's players too, and of course as a players we need to like make sure we're going to be ready to play next year and like get those expectations.
So I said it this year, I mean, we don't want to be in this situation, you know, not making the playoffs and be there April 8th, you know. So I think we just gotta, you know, manage to be a good team and, you know, have a good start and come in and be like be a tough team to play against every night and be consistent out there.
I mean, obviously, you never want to go into a summer not making the playoffs. It sucks. It's depressing. It's not something that you want to do. But when you hear about the news that we've gotten in the last couple days, it's happiness, it's excitement, it's positivity. It's a fresh start. It's something to build on, it's something to look forward to, and something not to be taken for granted.
Like Ekblad said, although he and his teammates were going through yet another all-too-familiar early cleanout, the exciting news that the players had received only a few hours earlier brought a level of excitement and anticipation that quickly washed away any lingering negativity. What started out as a rumor had just become a reality, and a fateful reunion between two old friends was about to reignite the franchise's fortune for the future. After laying the foundation for one of the league's all-time great dynasties in Chicago over a decade earlier, Panthers general manager Dale Talon couldn't hide his excitement after hiring future Hall of Fame head coach Joel Quenneville.
Thank you very much. Geez, you look like you're in better shape than me.
A great pleasure for me. I'm giddy like I've never been before. It's like scoring my first goal.
The man behind the bench during Chicago's Stanley Cup wins in 2010, 2013, and 2015. Quenneville made it clear he didn't plan to rest on his laurels in Florida. Although his coaching resume stands out as one of the league's all-time best, it's still not quite yet complete. With a large grin creeping out from under his iconic silver mustache, Quenneville's first act as head coach of the Panthers was to address his new players immediately following his introductory press conference at BB&T Center. In a private meeting with the group, he made his plans for the future crystal clear.
Hey, man. Thank you guys for being here today. Thank you. You know, our day or two after the season, there's only one team that's happy at the end of the year. I really want our team right now, like I said out there, that know how you feel today. We don't want to have that feeling. There's a lot of great ingredients in here. There's a lot of good hockey players. I'm excited to get to coach you guys, and we're going to win, and we're going to have a lot of fun. My goal and ambition, I want to be a little bit quicker, I want to be a little bit stronger, and as a team, everybody adds that little element to their own game. Collectively, it's going to be huge, and our goal next year, hey, we'll get in the playoffs. We need to play meaningful games. It's so much fun.
With a legendary head coach handling the X's and O's, the Panthers then turned their attention to giving him all the tools he would need to succeed. And on July 1st, Talon came out swinging on the opening day of the NHL's free agency period.
We're very happy with the guys. We identified these guys, and we ended up getting them all, so it was good.
In their quest to reach the playoffs, the savvy general manager brought in 4 players that already knew the way: Brett Connolly, Noel Acciari, Anton Strawman, and Sergei Bobrovsky. Connolly was only 1 season removed from helping Washington win a championship in 2018, while Acciari helped Boston reach Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final in 2019. And with 2 trips to the finals in his career, Strawman had 100-plus games of playoff experience under his belt. Bobrovsky, however, was considered the crown jewel of the class.
So it's not that. My main thing was the win. You know, I want to win, as I told you, I want to win the cup. And I think that was my main purpose, was why I chose the Panthers.
Following Roberto Luongo's retirement in June, the 2-time Vezina Trophy-winning goaltender was given a 7-year deal by the Panthers after having just led Columbus to a stunning upset over top-seeded Tampa Bay in the opening round of the 2019 playoffs just a few months earlier. With these new pieces in place, it was time to put up or shut up for the Panthers. And with the 2019-20 season on the horizon, the expectations for the team were simple: playoffs or bust.
I think, everyone had pretty high expectations individually and as a team coming into the season with a new coaching staff and a lot of really good additions to the team. So I'd say that everyone was pretty excited about the season and felt really good coming into it. I think the intentions were to talk about it a little bit less than we did the year before and just go try to do it. And
for the first half of the season, Matheson and the Panthers did just that.
The overtime winner!
Getting off to one of their best starts in franchise history. The team sat second in the Atlantic Division by the time the players sat down together for Thanksgiving. And, despite some struggles, their top-ranked offense made them one of the most dangerous teams in the entire league, cruising into the NHL's All-Star break. They won a season-high 6 straight games and held a 4-point cushion over Toronto for 3rd place in the division.
I think it happens throughout the course of the year where you have ups and downs. Obviously, some of the games where we had our slides when we weren't playing well, it's kind of one of those things maybe in the past that could have lasted longer than it did. But I think with having, a guy like Q and bringing in some veteran guys, it helped us not really let those things linger too long, and we were able to find ways to win games when we needed to. We were finding ways to score from all different levels. If you look at, guys like Achari, the year he had, obviously, you come to expect it from guys like Barkey, Hubie, Daddy, Hoff. Like those guys are going to get big numbers, but I think our third and fourth line guys really stepped up and have had a huge impact for us.
But after flying high heading into the break, the Panthers came crashing back to earth coming out of it, starting with a 4-0 loss to Montreal in their first game back. They dropped 7 of their first 9 games after returning. The playoff spot they'd worked so hard for was now gone. Despite their impressive start, they ended up exactly where they didn't want to be. With 2 months left in the season, it would take another late push to crack the postseason.
Obviously, it's not good enough, and we gotta look ourselves in the mirror and start playing better game. Everybody starts playing the right way, playing hard every shift, and just battle hard. We can't afford to lose anymore. We can't afford to play like that anymore. We gotta play a lot better.
Individually, I think looking yourself in the mirror and everyone trying to be a little bit better, and it's disappointing we haven't made a push after the break, and everyone's obviously disappointed with the way we played. And we went in the break, 6 games or whatever we won in a row, and then we're kind of just falling a little bit here. But
after bottoming out against the Flyers, the Panthers began to look inward for answers. There were closed-door meetings, up-tempo practices, and long hours of harsh introspection from every player in the locker room. But through that adversity, they also found their identity. And with a 2-1 win over defending Stanley Cup champion St. Louis on March 9th, they climbed back within just 3 points of a playoff spot.
I think that those last 3 games we played before going into the shutdown, I thought were, the blueprint of our team, where we weren't scoring 4 or 5 goals, and I think when you're going into playoffs and playing like that, you don't see many games that are high scoring like that. So I thought we did a good job. We actually adjusted a few things within our system and stuff like that, and I thought it really helped out.
With their season back on track, the Panthers were ready to take on the world. Unfortunately, their next opponent was something nothing could have prepared them for. A new virus was starting to make the headlines, and the entire world was about to change.
More deaths were reported in Italy today, and there's a dramatic spike in cases in France and Germany now.
When it started spreading everywhere, I noticed I was paying attention to Italy. My brother is at the Vatican. He's there as a priest. He's over there, and actually my younger brother went to visit him, and they were over there kind of, I think they both got out on the last day that they were allowed to leave and come back to the States. So I was paying pretty close attention to it leading up to that, and what I had known about the virus, never in my wildest dreams. And I think it would kind of turn into what it has turned into.
Despite having the cloud of COVID-19 hanging over them, the Panthers traveled to Dallas following their win over the Blues in preparation for a matchup with the Stars on March 12. Less than 24 hours earlier, the sports world had been put on notice when the NBA announced that it would pause its season after a player for the Utah Jazz had tested positive for the virus. At that point, it was believed that it would only be a matter of time before the NHL would follow suit.
The NHL followed the rest of the leagues today, announcing it will be pausing the current season as a direct result of the NBA's actions. The NHL and NBA share a lot of locker rooms and facilities, so
this was the necessary step for the National Hockey League.
Yeah, it's really not a surprise in light of events that have taken place in the last, 12, 16 hours.
We were pretty focused in our kind of our bubble of hockey and just playing every other night, and you kind of get into a zone and you don't see much going on around the world. It wasn't until we really went on that road trip, our last road trip, that we started hearing a lot about it. And then that one day that the basketball players shut down their game in Dallas, and we were sitting in Dallas at that point. And that's kind of when we all turned on the TVs and went, oh God, like this is pretty serious. And in the end, didn't end up playing the next day. And all of a sudden we were waking up for a regular game day and getting told that we weren't going to go to the rink for morning skate. And then we still kind of had belief that we were going to play that night, and obviously didn't. So we just knew that it was something very serious that we all had to go home and take very seriously in quarantine and see what the next steps were.
I thought maybe a month would be. It was kind of where, all right, and then once that month, the first month went by, you kind of like, all right, you got to ride it out. We were locked down. We didn't leave our house for a month. Weren't able to go anywhere. Obviously, the kids weren't in school, so it was one of those things that we were home, not seeing anyone.
As 1 week turned into a month and beyond, the Panthers rode out the early days of the coronavirus pandemic like the rest of us. Confined to their homes under quarantine, they did the best they could to stay prepared for a return to action, even if it might never come.
Just being able to be home from morning to night with my kids and wake up with them every morning and put them to bed every night. For me personally, that was fun to be able to help them out with their schoolwork and be around. And they knew I wasn't going anywhere, so it was one of those things that was new for them and new for me. So we definitely had a lot of fun.
My routine the last 3 months were probably the first 4 weeks of it were more or less continuing on my kind of recovery and rehab stuff, just to make sure that I was over that hurdle and way past it, so I never had to go through that again. Then my son had kind of an emergency where we had to travel, which was a little bit scary in its own right. We had to get him taken care of up in Boston at Children's Hospital, and everything went really, really well. We got to spend some time actually in Hingham at my hometown with my parents.
Yeah, it's been different. It certainly is. Spend a lot more time with my wife, a lot more times with the animals. Unfortunately, lost one of our dogs over the stretch. But you get to know their habits like you never had to worry about before. And keeping in touch with the family. And we had some time together with the family as well, in appreciation for spending extra time and getting that quality time that sometimes you might have missed throughout our working lives.
For Mike Matheson and Colton Sevier, the quarantine also meant extra work. As the team's NHLPA representatives, they were tasked with keeping their teammates informed as updates on the coronavirus and the league slowly trickled in throughout the pause. On May 23rd, Matheson was one of 29 players on the NHLPA's 31-player executive council that voted in favor of a 24-team postseason tournament should the league resume its season.
This whole thing has been so difficult because nobody's been through it. Nobody's been through anything like this, and so there's not even really anything to go off of. But when this happened in the past, we did this, or there's nothing like that. And so, I think when it came down to that vote, the most difficult thing was to set aside the fact that we are in the situation we are in. It's no one's fault that we're in this situation, and all we're trying to do is come up with the best scenario. And so I think that the idea that they came up with, the 24-team play-in format, was the best option out there, considering the situation we're in.
Safe and sound, but never comfortable. Players and coaches never gave up hope that they'd eventually return to the ice. And as the world began to back COVID-19 into a corner, the NHL finally came through with the news that the entire hockey world had been waiting for.
Good afternoon. I am delighted to be with you today to announce the National Hockey League's plans for our resumption of play.
Commissioner, I should say, Gary Bettman announced online that there is a plan to move forward with the season. In fact, the season is over as we knew it. We're going to head straight into the playoffs. So where does this leave the Florida Panthers? Well, they were 11th in the Eastern Conference when play halted, so the Cats are in the playoffs this year.
After weathering through a season of ups and downs, of long waits and uncertainty, the Panthers still somehow ended up right where they need to be. For although the road to the 24-team playoff remains long and full of potential pitfalls, players know what they're fighting for. The slate has been wiped clean, and the Stanley Cup is still there for the taking.
The guys are excited, because now you see it. It's right in front of you. There was doubt before, and now we know what the deal is. Now you've got a chance to win 3 games.
and move on and have a chance to do something special. So all the guys that I've spoken with can't wait to get on the ice. They can't wait to get back together, and they're excited about this opportunity. And so that's all you can ask for.
Next time on Panthers Uncaged.
We're using a saliva-based test only because jamming a swab up a guy's nose twice a week is not the most comfortable.